Hey guys, welcome back. I have been going crazy here trying to get all these arm parts finished, so I figured we'll go through and take a quick look at how all the pieces look disassembled. I keep showing it on my arms and whatever else. I'm on version 3 of the upper arms, which I think is pretty good. So, there's a couple tweaks left, but overall the fitment is pretty good. Most of the stuff is in place, so I've moved on to getting hand pieces done, fingers, all kinds of stuff. But this is kind of how all the parts look off the printer. There's a lot of little pieces here. I'll tilt this down a little so you can see, but there's a bunch of parts. Basically, we've got the forearm, which is the two main tube pieces. The cuff, which again, this is the Force Awakens style without the knurling. And then the upper forearm piece, which goes on here. All right, so we got those pieces. I'll get those out of the way. We have the upper arm, which this is the left. I'm going to assemble all this stuff tonight because Sunday morning I am doing the Disney half marathon, and I'm going to have a red arm for that race just because I can't do a whole costume. So got to do something 3PO, right? Star Wars. So we have an upper arm, which looks like this. And then we have all these little random Greebly bits. So we have the sliders that go on the arms here. The smaller ones go on the upper back half of the arm, which is like this up here. And within that slider, we have, within the track, we have the little slider parts that slide up and down. These little, whoops, drop that. That's always good. The little T blocks that go at the ends to keep the slider from going all the way in and out. The rear arm piston upper part, the piston rod, which again I have some aluminum stock that I'll be making these out of, but these are excellent to test with, 3D printed bits. We have the end of the pistons, two of those are each different, so the one for the forearm and the one for the back of the arm. Now, another thing I realized on the Force Awakens suits, the front and back of the arms are both about the same thickness, whereas on the Classic Trilogy suit, the rear pistons, this end is thicker, and then the front is thinner from top to bottom. Another thing you spot when you stare at this stuff for too long. The elbow catch for the back of the piston here, so that plugs in like magic into there, something like this. And then this piece goes onto the back of the upper forearm. All this fun stuff. Same thing with the front. We have a track that goes along the forearm. The piston end with the long stem piece that hooks down into the track. Piston rod, front piston, elbow screws, which these sort of suck off of my printer, but I have some that I did through Shapeways, basically from the same or really similar one of my older models that I cleaned up, and I made some molds of it. So I'm going to do resin ones tomorrow. I have the resin copies of my 3D printed arm Greeblies here that I'm going to put on. Get all this crap out of the way, and we'll take a quick look at the hands. So right here I have the left hand, which goes on like this. Now, this is actually attached in the 3D file, and it closes around here, like so. And it works, and it goes on, and I think if I used probably nylon filament, it would be flexible enough where I could take it on and off more easily, but this is PLA, and it doesn't have enough flex, so I cut it so it opened a little easier. And I can put it on. With the PLA, I can open enough to put it on, but it's just a little bit of a pain. So I cut it. I'm going to make some Velcro. Here's the right hand. This is kind of what it looks like when it's new. The cut placement is the Force Awakens style. There's still some tweaks to make to get it correct. I have all the finger joints here. When I was modeling these, I used the Empire Strikes Back resin copies of these hands to make all these little pieces. So I used the measurements from those to make these. And I was also looking at the Captain Phasma fingers, and then I got some good pictures of 3PO from Force Awakens, and I realized the fingers on 3PO are slightly different than the ones that are on Captain Phasma, and it makes me wonder if the ones that are on Phasma might have been an earlier iteration of the fingers as they worked on them for Force Awakens, and they're just a little different the 3PO fingers have a little bit more articulation and it's some different kind of angles cut out of them. So I'm gonna match those, but once I get these figured out a little bit better, there's a couple little tweaks to make. I'll post these, just the fingers for Captain Phasma if anybody wants to do that. I'll put them on Thingiverse probably in like a week or two. One thing I did, I don't know if this will show up on camera, having done the 3PO suit before, one of the hardest things with the segmented fingers is figuring out what goes where. If you have to paint them or chrome them or prime them or prep them, whatever you gotta do, when they're all apart like this, it's a pain that you have to go through each one and kind of test fit it, figure out what finger it goes on. So what I did is I put little letters, which of course you're not gonna be able to see on here, but way down in the tip, there's a little letter kind of embossed into the tip. Let me see, here's the thumb. I don't know if you can see it, but see there's a little T. And got an F in this one for first finger. I don't know if you can see it right here. And middle finger, it's got a little M in there, right there. So it makes it real easy to identify the parts. There's a P for pinky. So it makes sense, right? But so that's where that's at. So the only thing missing out of this whole pile of crap to make the arms are the hand pistons. And I've got my mold right here that I used to make mine. So I'll be making a set of this tonight. I'm going to assemble this right now and get it prepped as much as possible so that tomorrow I can paint it. It will be a red arm. And I'll be ready for the race on Sunday. And I'm going to wear it for a 13-mile run. So it'll probably give me a chance to test and see if anything holds up or if something's uncomfortable. I'll know after 13 miles of running and waving at people and whatever I'm going to do if it's going to work. So anyway, thanks for stopping by. I'll be back soon with another update. See you.